Imagine that right now a magic pill appears in front of you. You take it, and in a second you feel how unshakable confidence spreads through your body. Your shoulders straighten themselves, your voice sounds deeper, and the world around you literally parts before you. But what if I told you that such a pill exists, and its recipe was left to us by two different people, Buddha, who taught to let go of desires, and Mussolini, who believed only in strength? Are you ready to learn the paradoxical truth? Then take a deep breath. We're getting started. Have you noticed how confident people seem to glow from within? They don't shout about their achievements, but for some reason everyone listens to them. The secret is that true confidence is not loud words or feigned bravado. It is precisely what is hidden from view. Imagine two people in the gym. One loudly slams weights on the barbell. The other silently lifts a weight that others have never dreamed of. Which of them is truly confident? The answer is obvious. Buddha said, "You are what you believe." But few people understand what lies behind this. Here's a simple example. Let's say you're afraid of public speaking. Every time you go out in front of an audience, you think, "I'm going to fail, they're going to laugh." And you know what? That's what happens. But imagine that you change just one detail. Instead of fear, you think, "I'm here to share something valuable." Suddenly, your breathing evens out, your words flow more freely. This is not magic. This is reprogramming the mind, which the ancients talked about. Now, let's add a pinch of Mussolini. He believed in the power of action, not thinking. One of his methods is, fake it until you make it. Sounds cynical, but it works. Remember how a child learns to ride a bicycle. At first, he trembles, falls, but keeps getting up. A week later, he is already racing without fear. His body remembers the feeling of control. The same with confidence. If you act like a confident person every day, even if there's anxiety inside, the brain will eventually believe in this image. Here is a story from real life. Anna worked in an office and was afraid to even ask for a promotion. One day, she decided to conduct an experiment. Every morning in front of the mirror, she said, "I am the best candidate for this position." At first, she laughed at herself. After 2 weeks, she noticed that colleagues began to ask her opinion more often. And a month later, her boss himself offered her a promotion. This is not a coincidence. This is a law of attraction, which was used by monks in Tibetan monasteries and Roman generals. But there is one nuance that coaches do not mention. Confidence is not a permanent state. Even the strongest people in the world experience moments of doubt. The difference is that they do not allow fear to dictate the rules. Buddha called observing thoughts without attachment. Imagine that your fears are clouds. You can either grab them and fall into the abyss or let them float past. The end of our story? Confidence is not a gift from the gods or a genetic lottery. It is a skill that can be developed, like a muscle. Start small. Today, a direct look. Tomorrow, a firm handshake. In a month, you will not recognize yourself in the mirror. And remember the words that Mussolini repeated to his soldiers. He who has ceased to be afraid has already won. And Buddha would add, victory begins in the silence of your mind. So who was right? The sage who called for peace, or the dictator who believed in force? The truth, as always, is in the middle. Absolute confidence is born when the inner world of Buddha meets the iron will of Mussolini. And now you know how it works. All that remains is to take the first step. Right now. Have you ever wondered why some people literally attract luck to themselves? It seems as if the universe itself opens doors for them, and others, no less talented, mark time for years. The secret lies in one simple but powerful quality, a sense of your own right to success. And these are not empty words. Let's take the story of Mikhail. He worked as a manager in a small company and dreamed of his own business. But every time he imagined himself as a businessman, a wave of doubts arose inside. What if it doesn't work out? I'm not a businessman. I'm a simple guy from the provinces. Familiar thoughts? Now imagine an alternative reality. The same Mikhail, but with one small amendment. He begins each day with a simple ritual. 5 minutes of standing in the winner's pose. Hands up, chin raised, smile. At first it seems stupid, but a month later, something amazing happens. He unexpectedly receives a partnership offer from a client. Then another one. 6 months later, he registers his company. It's not magic. It's science. Harvard research shows that our bodies influence our minds more than we think. Just 2 minutes in a power pose increases testosterone, the confidence hormone, by 20% and reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. Buddha called it the unity of body and spirit. Mussolini called it character training. But here's what's really interesting. True confidence always goes hand in hand with vulnerability. Yes, you heard that right. Imagine 2 speakers. The first one speaks smoothly without a single mistake, but for some reason does not touch the heart. The second one stumbles, sometimes searches for words, but there is genuine passion in his eyes. Who will you believe? This is the paradox. When we stop being afraid of seeming imperfect, we become truly strong. Remember the last time you saw someone admit their mistake? Did it inspire respect? Once a girl came to me for a consultation, a top manager of a large company. On the outside, a model of success, but inside, a bundle of nerves. I have to be perfect, she said, otherwise everyone will see that I'm an imposter. Sound familiar? We started with a simple exercise. Every day she had to consciously do one imperfect thing, be 5 minutes late, admit that she didn't know something, even deliberately spill coffee. At first it was a nightmare, but a month later she sent a message. For the first time in 10 years, I feel free. Mussolini would call it the tactics of controlled chaos. Buddha, liberation from attachments. And now practice. Take a piece of paper and write down your 3 fears. The most shameful. For example, I'm afraid that everyone thinks I'm stupid. I'm afraid that my success is just an accident. I'm afraid that they'll stop loving me if I'm real. And now, pay attention, right next to each one. So what? I'm afraid that everyone thinks I'm stupid. So what? Maybe someone does. But that's their problem, not mine. I'm afraid that my success is an accident. So what? That means I'm just lucky. It's nice to be lucky. I'm afraid that they'll stop loving me. So what? That means these people don't love me. They love my mask. This exercise is like a cold shower for your consciousness. It won't get rid of your fears, but it will deprive you of their power over you. Now here's the main secret. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act in spite of it. Remember the first time you got behind the wheel. Your palms were sweating, your heart was pounding, but you were driving. Now, you probably don't even think about how to change gears. The same thing happens with confidence. Each scary action is like a brick in the foundation of your new personality. A friend of mine, a former shy guy, came up with a brilliant method. He called it 100 refusals. The idea is simple. You need to consciously get 100 refusals. Ask for a discount in a store, meet people on the street, offer incredible ideas at work. The first 20 times are hell. Then you start to notice funny details. On the 50th refusal, an epiphany comes. Damn, I'm still alive. And after the 70th, a miracle happens. You stop being afraid. And the most interesting thing is that by the 100 refusals, he received 15 yes, one of which changed his career. Buddha would say, fear is just a cloud. Mussolini clarified, a cloud through which you must march. Your next step? Right now, do something that scares you. It doesn't matter if it's a small thing. The important thing is the action, because confidence isn't something that comes before action. It's something that's born in the process. And remember, every great person you admire was once a scared beginner. The only difference is that they kept going. What about you? The alchemy of confidence. How to turn doubt into strength. Have you ever seen a blacksmith at work? Hot metal, hammer blows, sparks? That's how a sword is created. But do you know what's most interesting? If the metal is not heated to the limit and not struck with sufficient force, it will not become stronger. The same thing happens with human character. Let's conduct an experiment. Remember a situation where you felt insecure. Maybe it was at a job interview or a first date. Now imagine that this situation is exactly that hot metal. And each blow of fate is not a punishment, but an opportunity to become stronger. An unexpected turn, right? Here's how it works in practice. Maria, a successful designer, told me how at the beginning of her career, she received a devastating review from a client. "Your work is complete crap," he wrote. Her first reaction was to quit everything, but instead, she took 3 steps. The first step, allowed myself to suffer for exactly 30 minutes, set a timer. Second, then wrote down all the comments, even the most offensive ones. Third step, I singled out 3 constructive points among them and started working. A year later, the same client ordered a project from her, paying 3 times more. "You are the only one who really heard my criticism," he said. This is the alchemy of confidence, the ability to turn poison into medicine. Buddha would call it the art of acceptance. Mussolini, the tactics of using any blows. But there is one nuance that is rarely talked about. Confidence requires regular recharging, like a phone that runs out of battery without charging. Here are 5 unusual ways to recharge. First, the old jeans method. Put on clothes in which you once felt like a winner. Our memory is closely connected with tactile sensations. Second, game 10 years older. Imagine that you need to give advice to yourself from the future. What will the 40-year-old you say to the current you? Third, diary of reverse achievements. Write down not successes, but failures and what they gave you. It turns out that our best learning is in mistakes. Fourth, ritual of the alien voice. Tell yourself compliments on behalf of your favorite character. James Bond admires your endurance. Fifth, practice of the forbidden action. Deliberately break small rules. Order something strange in a cafe, not like everyone else. This trains courage. And now, the most important thing. Confidence loves specifics. The abstract, "I want to be more confident," does not work. Clear anchors are needed. Try it right now. Name one situation where you need confidence. For example, speaking at a meeting. Think of 3 specific signs of confident behavior in it. Straight posture, voice without trembling, clear wording. Choose one small element to practice today. Here is Dennis's story. He was afraid of social parties. His anchors were, say only compliments for the first 5 minutes. Hold a glass in your left hand so that the right is free for gestures. Find one person with whom you can really talk. After 3 events, he noticed people began to seek out his company themselves. Philosophers argue, is confidence innate or acquired? True, as usual, in the middle, it's like an ear for music. Some have it by nature, but everyone can develop it. The main thing is to remember, you already have everything you need. You just don't know it yet. As Buddha would say, you are what you seek. And Mussolini would add, but you must seek with a sword in your hand. Your next step? Right now, do something you usually put off for when I become more confident. Because the secret is that the order is reversed. First action, then confidence. And remember, every time you overcome yourself, somewhere in the world a new version of you is born, the one that has already won. All that remains is to catch up with it. Fuel for your inner strength. How to create an inexhaustible source of confidence. Have you ever wondered why children learn to walk despite hundreds of falls? They don't analyze their failures. They don't think, what if I fall again? They just get up and walk. Somewhere inside us, this mechanism still works. Let's wake it up. Imagine that your brain is a garden. Every thought is a seed. What will grow if you constantly plant, "I can't. I'm not worthy. Others can do it better"? That's right, weeds of doubt. But here's the good news. This garden can be replanted. Right now, here's how Olga, a teacher who was more afraid to go to the board than her students, did it. She started keeping a victory diary, wrote down 3 micro-successes daily, answered question loudly, voice didn't tremble, created a confidence board, photos of moments when she felt strong, invented a 5-5-5 ritual, 5 deep breaths, 5 seconds of smiling, 5 steps toward the goal. 3 months later, she was invited to the city competition, Teacher of the Year. She won. The strangest thing is that I wasn't worried at all, she later admitted. It's not magic. It's neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rebuild itself. Every time you do something despite your fear, new neural connections are formed in the brain. Buddha would call it enlightenment of habit. Mussolini, discipline of will. But there is one secret ingredient, without which confidence is like a car without gasoline. It's physiology. Here's what the research has shown. 20 minutes of brisk walking increases levels of GABA, a neurotransmitter that helps you feel calm. The superhero pose, hands on hips, before an important event reduces cortisol by 25%. Chewing gum reduces anxiety. The act of chewing sends safety signals. Try it right now. Stand up straight. Put your hands on your waist. Take a deep breath for a count of 4. Smile, even if you don't feel like it. Say, I'm ready for this. Do you feel like something inside you is switching on? This is your body starting to produce the chemistry of confidence. And now, the most unexpected thing. Confidence loves chaos. Yes, that's right, disorder. Here's an experiment that will change the way you think about yourself. First, choose a day. Second, deliberately break small rules. Drink coffee from a teacup. Wear mismatched socks. Say, thank you instead of sorry. This trains the brain to get out of its comfort zone. As a trainer, I know you used to say, if you can show up to a meeting in mismatched socks and not blush, half the job is done. But true confidence is born in moments of crisis. Remember the story of Thomas, a manager who was fired on his birthday. His first reaction was panic. Then he did 3 things. First, he bought the most expensive suit on credit. Second, he recorded a video, why I am the best candidate. Third, he sent it to 50 companies with a note, not looking for a job, looking for a dream team. A week later, he was offered a position with a salary 40% higher than his previous one. It was madness, he laughs now. But it is precisely madness that often turns out to be genius. Philosophers argue, what comes first, confidence or action? The answer is simple. They're like 2 legs, they walk in turns. The main thing is to start your homework. First, today, consciously do 3 strange things. Second, tomorrow, record 3 moments when you were confident. Third, the day after tomorrow, try something you've been putting off for a long time. And remember, confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the courage to tell it. You can go with me, but I decide. As Buddha would say, your enemy is your best teacher. Mussolini would clarify. But the teacher must know his place. And you? Are you ready to take the first step to a new version of yourself? It is closer than it seems. Right beyond your comfort zone. Cracking the confidence code. How to reprogram your subconscious. Have you ever seen a hacker hack a system? They don't break down a door with a running start. They find vulnerabilities in the code. Your subconscious is the same system. And today we're going to hack it. Ready? In front of you are 2 glasses. One contains clean water. The other contains muddy water. This is your mind before and after one simple exercise. Here it is. Take a piece of paper. Divide it into 2 columns. In the left column, write what I was forced to believe. In the right column, what I choose to believe now. This is what Alina did, an accountant who considered herself a gray mouse for 20 years. In her left column was, I'm not pretty. I have to be modest. The main thing is not to stick out. In the right column was, my individuality is my strength. Modesty is a choice, not a sentence. The world is waiting for my contribution. A year later, she opened financial literacy courses for women. I just rewrote my code. She says, this is reprogramming. Buddha called it cleansing the mind. Modern psychologists call it cognitive restructuring. The essence is the same. Old beliefs are viruses. It's time to install an antivirus. But there is one trick. The subconscious does not understand the particle not. When you say, I am not afraid, it hears, I am afraid. That is why affirmations often do not work. Try it another way. Instead of, I'm not a coward, say, I'm studying my courage. My courage grows every day. I choose decisive action. See the difference? It's like upgrading from Windows 95 to the latest version. Everything works faster and without glitches. And now, the most powerful technique, mirror neuron method. Our brain learns by observing others. Want to become more confident? Find 3 to 5 people who are already like that and download them into yourself. How? Create a role models folder. Add videos, quotes, stories of these people there. Recharge from them for 5 minutes every day. My client Artem used this method before negotiations. He collected Steve Jobs videos, Elon Musk interviews, even Tony Stark's monologue from Iron Man. Result? He signed a contract that he thought was impossible. I just let their confidence flow through me, he explained. But the real breakthrough happens when you find a confidence anchor, an action that instantly gives you back your power. Here's how to create one. First, remember a moment of complete confidence. Second, identify the key sensation, warmth in your chest, a firm back. Third, come up with a simple gesture. Clench your fist, touch your wrist. Fourth, repeat 7 times in different situations. Now this gesture is your secret key, like the turbo button on old school video games. Philosophers have debated for centuries. Is confidence innate or learned? Modern science says it's like a language. Anyone can learn it, but it's best to start in childhood. The good news, neuroplasticity works at any age. Your task for today, find 3 viruses in your code limiting beliefs. Rewrite them in a new way. Create a confidence anchor. Find 3 role models. Remember, you are both the programmer and the program. Today you have access to the source code. What will you write in it? As Buddha would say, you are what you think between thoughts. Mussolini would add, but thoughts must become actions. And now, the most important thing, close your eyes. Imagine yourself in a year. This person is already confident. He has already gone all the way. What does he want to tell you today? Hear it and start acting. Because confidence is not a destination. It is a way of traveling. And your ticket is already in your hands.